The concept of a session is simply essential to using Dungeon Builder. The term session refers to that time when you and your friends are actually playing an adventure using Dungeon Builder. While you must be logged in order to use Dungeon Builder, being logged in merely means that you are online and available for a session. You are only in a session when you actually join an adventure that someone has posted. There are several important things to understand about sessions. First of all, in order to play together, a player has to post a session, and then all the folks who are going to play have to join that session. We'll show you how to do that in the second video on post and join sessions. Secondly, some features only work when you are in a session, like using directed chat or using the party icon. Some features only work when you are not in a session, like when you're drawing maps. And some features work regardless of whether you are in a session or not, but it's important to know where you are. Third, when you join a session in Dungeon Builder, it is really your characters that are joining the session. You can play different characters in different sessions, but the characters that you had join each session are committed to that particular session until you quit it or the session is over. And finally, your characters can only be in one session at a time. That means you can't be playing the same characters in two different worlds at the same time. We'll talk more about that in the second video as well. Okay, that said, let's dive into how sessions work. Okay, here we are in the game space of Dungeon Builder, and to go to the session domain of Dungeon Builder, we click on the session page button up here in the button bar, and that takes us to the main page for all session management activities. And if we want to jump back and forth between the two domains, we can now click on the game page to go back to the game space, and likewise go back to the session space. As you can see, there are three primary tabs up here in the upper left-hand corner. And because we are on the Manage Contacts tab, there are two secondary tabs for managing contacts over here on the right. The Sessions primary tab also has some sub-tabs for posting sessions, joining sessions, and My Sessions. Okay, we'll talk about those in the second video. Now, sessions in Dungeon Builder work in two simple steps. First, you use the Manage Contacts tab to find your friends and invite them to join your campaign. Second, you use the Sessions tab to post sessions for people to join, and once they join the sessions, you're in business. And that's really it. Now, this Notifications tab that you see up here is just a collection point for various alerts you will receive for various session-related activities. Now, looking at that first step of managing contacts here, Dungeon Builder works under the assumption that most of the time you're going to be playing with people you know, your friends or your family. And given that we expect there to be a lot of people who are playing Dungeon Builder, we made it easy for you to find your friends among all the other subscribers to the application. Over here on the right-hand side, we have something called the Adventurer's Scroll. This is a list of all the people who have a license for Dungeon Builder. As there could be hundreds or even thousands of people on this list, we provide you a couple of tools that allow you to find the people you know fast. First, up here, we have a search tool that allows you to search the entire Adventurer's Scroll by either their name or username. This is particularly useful when you are looking for a specific individual. We also have made the column headers within inside the Adventurer's Scroll sortable. This can be really helpful in finding people in your state so you can find out if they're nearby you and available for a face-to-face gaming session. Once you've found the people you want to invite, all you do is click on the invite select box over here and then click on send invite. When you do this, two things are going to happen. First, the player will receive a notification on the notification tab asking them to respond to the invitation. It's going to look something like this. When they click on respond, they can either accept or decline the invitation. If they accept the invitation, you will receive a confirmation notification on your notification screen, and the player will be added to your adventure group over here. The adventure group is like your personal contacts. These are the people who you will regularly play with. They will always be presented as potential invitees when you want to post a session. Now, if the other player declines your invitation, they will not be added to your adventure group, and therefore they will not appear on the session primary tab for easy invite to your sessions. We'll talk more about that in the second video on sessions. They can still join public sessions that you set up, something we'll talk more about in the second video, but they will not even see the private sessions that you set up. The second thing that goes on when you click on the send invite button is at the same time they're receiving a notification in Dungeon Builder, an email invitation that looks a lot like this will also be sent to that person. Notice how it has both an accept and decline link. By clicking on one of these links, the other player can accept or decline your invitation even if they are not in Dungeon Builder. Looking more closely at this adventure group over here. As mentioned, it consists of those folks that you regularly play with. These people will appear as default candidates for any private sessions that you want to set up. As people may float in and out of your campaign, you have the ability to delete people from your adventure group by first selecting the checkbox up here and then clicking on the delete button, which I'm not going to do at this time. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is how to add internal players. We recognize that it may take some time for players to adopt Dungeon Builder, and some of your players may just not be interested. However, as a game master, you may still want to track the characters of these players, and we've provided the internal player feature to do just that. When you click on the Add Manually button here, you have the ability to add the name of someone who is in your campaign but who does not have a Dungeon Builder license so that you can track their characters. For example, I'll enter someone Rolf Enders and click on Add Internal. And after giving it a minute to process, Rolf Enders appears in my adventure group as an available individual. You'll also notice that internal players are highlighted either with a gray background or with the text internal players in brackets in order to highlight that these particular players are internal players. They are not players with a license. Now, while neither Bill nor Rolf can log into Dungeon Builder or do anything in the application, you as the game master have the ability to create characters and associate them with Bill and Rolf so that when you set up sessions, you can invite the characters for Bill and Rolf to link in with the party so you can use Dungeon Builder's tools to take actions on their characters. For example, suppose one of Bill's characters earned a +2 longsword and 2,000 gold pieces. Well, typically you would award that treasure to the character using Dungeon Builder's grant feature. Once you grant the items to the character, they automatically show up on the character sheet in both the game master's and in the player's version of that character. Well, as Bill did not purchase a license, you'll have to tell him about this treasure and he'll have to write it down on his character sheet. But because Bill is also an internal character, you can also track this action in Dungeon Builder by using the award feature to award this treasure to Bill's internal character. We'll show you how this works once we get to the character videos. And that completes our first video and sessions. Please watch the second video to learn more about how to post and join sessions.